Recently, we came in contact with someone who had a big accounts receivable problem. Now, if you're not an accountant, you might not know the term accounts receivable or AR, but it basically means that you've provided a service, but you haven't yet collected the money or the revenue that you are owed. So how do you track this AR problem? Well, maybe you're using a tool like Quickbooks or Xero, or maybe you really don't have a way to collect and track your AR. Well, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how we can build a quick and easy solution to track AR. And I kid you not, the very solution and steps that I'm going to show you here are the same thing that recently solved a $1 million AR problem for a no-code user. So if learning more about this solution is of interest to you, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission to help you unlock the full potential of your no-code tools, and one of our favorite no-code tools is and continues to be SmartSuite. Now, SmartSuite can do a lot for us. We're going to be able to build our database, we can build automations, and then we can even share that data very selectively with users. Before we get started, I encourage you to open up your own SmartSuite. If you already have an account, pop it up and follow along. If you don't, go ahead and sign up using our affiliate link that I will include by this video. It's a great way for you to show some love back to the channel. Greatly appreciated. Also, before we get into the heart of things, if you want to learn about automation, I've put together a free training for you. It's where you're going to really unlock the full potential of no code. In that training, you can grab it for free at gapconsulting.io/webinar-registration. All right, let's go ahead and hop on into the heart of things. Here I am in SmartSuite. We are going to build this from scratch, super simple, and we're going to go one step at a time. Going from scratch here, popping this up, we can recolor, rename, and choose a new icon for our solution. I'm just going to call this accounts receive or rec. And green, great. We're going to collect money with this thing. Let's use green and let's pick a new solution icon. Do we have a money symbol? Let's get at it. All right, here we go. Our accounts receivable is now created. The first thing to note, of course, if you're new to no-code databases, is that we want to bring in tables or create tables here. Each table is its own set of data. So we want to think about, whenever we're building, what are the different sets of data we need to interact with? And one of the things here is we are taking data in our specific example that comes from our accounting software. In the case of this particular client, it was Quickbooks. So there was a Quickbooks CSV download. And so that information of all the accounts that were unpaid, that came from Quickbooks. It was downloaded in a CSV and could get uploaded here into the database. Now you can do this pretty simply, especially if you just have a few thousand lines of data at a time. But as you mature in your no-code expertise, I would suggest that you then consider building automation to take that information from Quickbooks or from Xero, wherever you're doing your accounting, and populate a solution like this. Now, you might also ask yourself, well, like, why would this client not want to use just Quickbooks? And the answer is you can't really customize the emails that come from Quickbooks with a high touch point. And this company who was solving this problem really wanted to make sure that each email that went out was very customized for that particular user. All right, so the first table that we're going to play with here is going to be contacts. Who is in charge of this? So I'm going to set up a contacts table, and contacts are pretty straightforward, right? I mean, I think most databases have some element of user or contact. First, I'm going to delete my assigned to field, my due date field. These are the default fields that come into existence when we start a brand new SmartSuite project or table. And I love them. They just don't have any place in this particular table. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to build a full name field here. Let's go with full name. And I'll select first and last name. Pretty simple and straightforward. Now I'm also going to go with an email field. Let's do a search. And for our case, I want emails to be unique. Absolutely. I don't need to require an entry, and I don't want multiple. If we toggle this on, we allow multiple emails per user, and that's not what I want for our example. Now, I could add a lot more information here, like phone number, address, all this stuff, but ultimately, this is what I need. I'm sending out emails on behalf of my accounts receivable that is due. So I'm going to keep it simple. Now, you'll note that I didn't mess with the title. The title can either be a manual input or auto-generated. And so for this, I'm just going to auto-generate the title, and I'm just going to take the full name. I don't actually need it to show me anything else. And when I have a new record in here, let's go ahead and pop this open. I'll put my own name in, Gareth Pronovost. When I say done, we give SmartSuite just a moment to think, and we're going to see that this pops up. I could rename this to be Contact ID or something like that. And then, of course, I also need to make sure that I have an email here, and I will drop one accordingly. Next, let's build our second table. We can build a table for the different accounts. And so on our accounts, this is going to be, who is it that we are working with? And so I will just go ahead and create this table pretty simply. Similar to last time, I can delete these fields, or if I would like, I can also just filter them out of the display. So rather than go through the deletion process, I can just move them all and push them over. So on accounts, these are like the companies that we're working with. And the reason that we have this is so that we can connect our accounts to our contacts. Most of the time, especially if we're doing B2B, that is business to business, we're going to have a connection between the company or the account to one or more contacts. Maybe you know several people who work at Acme Company, for example, and so we're going to want to build that relationship. This is where databases like SmartSuite really shine. So I'm going to build a link to my other table here, and I'm going to link to my contacts table. Note that in SmartSuite, I can connect or link to any table in any SmartSuite solution anywhere in my account. This is a huge advantage to using SmartSuite, but I just want to get those contacts that are inside of my accounts receivable solution. So let's go ahead and rename this. I'll say link to contacts, and I will allow it to link to multiple records, meaning that multiple contacts can be connected to an account. Now we'll see that the reciprocal of this is also built. So when we link accounts to contacts, we are also linking our contacts to our accounts. And that just is a matter of logical fact. So when we build link from one to the other, then it's in both places. So over here, same thing. Note that we can't toggle this off from this particular side. So we might have an account, and in this case, I'll just have the account name here. And I will require it to be unique. And let's go ahead and update this field. So I might have the account Gap Consulting. So maybe this particular business is doing business with my business. And now we have a link to the contacts, which we'll build right there. And so we can see that information. Now, with a link, we can see everything that comes from that record. So if we want to also know the email associated with the billing contact, which of course we do want to know, we can look it up. So this is called a lookup field. And what this does is it allows us to basically say, I want to know the email from the contact. And so we're looking at the contact that's linked here, and we're looking up information that lives at the contact record, in this case, the email. Let's add the field. And so we are able to bring in the email for this particular contact right here. Now, the third and final part of this is the actual data dump itself. And this third table is going to be the AR, right? The actual accounts receivable. Similarly here, when I build a new table, I can ditch all of these fields that I don't need. So let's go ahead and drop them out. And here's where we are going to build our actual data dump. So what is the amount, or in this case, we look for currency, and I'll rename it to be amount due. And I will also have a date field. Let's go with date, and we can say this is the date due. And so we could imagine a situation where, maybe since we're working with Gap Consulting in our accounts, and Gap Consulting always pays its bills on time, but let's imagine it didn't, we could set up a test here. Let's go test. And we would say, well, they owe us $150 back from August 1st. And then again, they owe us something else. This will be test 2. And we can see here that they owe us, let's say, $250 that was invoiced on September 1st. So we know now that this particular account would owe us twice, and we can roll that information up. But we haven't actually linked it to the account, so let's build that. Another linked relationship here where we say this is going to link to the account, and we'll make sure that we link to the proper table, accounts. Now, once we set this up, we can link this properly to Gap Consulting. Let's go ahead and link it and drag it down. So now we know that Gap Consulting owes us both of these. Now, I also want to record the status of this thing, because if we have a discussion with this particular account and they say, yeah, we're ready, we've paid this, no problem. Well, let's have a status field. So we can bring in this and we can update these different status to overdue. And let's say in process, or I'll get rid of this one, and this will be paid. So pretty simply, we can look at this and say, well, look, if these particular fields are not yet paid, then we want to sum this up. We want to look at Gap Consulting and say, hey, they've got 2 things that are overdue here, and we need to know what the total of that is. So back on the accounts, I can actually access this using a formula. I'll use a formula field, add it in right here, and this will be called total due. And pretty simply, I will come in and do a SUMIF. So using a SUMIF formula, I can click here, and these formulas work very similar to what you would find in Excel or a spreadsheet. I establish my criteria, that is, the status is overdue, and in that case, I want to sum the amount. So let's go with that. I say AR, link to AR, dot status 1, this is the new status field I built, equals overdue, inside of quotes. So if the status of the thing is overdue that is linked to this, well, then I want to sum it. So that will be the link to AR dot amount that we want to sum, amount due. Let's go ahead and add this field, and we'll see here 400 is the amount due right now. If I go into AR and I mark one of these as paid, we're going to see that this recalculates to only show the outstanding AR that is still overdue. Now for the biggest part, and the reason I love SmartSuite for this, we can send emails from SmartSuite that will actually track from our email and be recorded back in the record. So as a final table, I will have created from scratch collection attempts. And we will link this table to our accounts receivable. But first, as you saw earlier, we're going to remove all of these fields that we don't need. So let's build our link to AR, link to AR, and we will make sure we select the AR table and multiple records, because we will be sending a collection attempt in some cases over multiple AR accounts that are overdue. We'll add this field, and let's just imagine that we have a test title in here for now, and we can link to multiple elements here, 1, 2, and select those. So we want to send an email about this. Great. Who are we going to send the email to? We can actually look that up. This data, if you recall, lives in our contacts and then got passed to our accounts. We need to now pass it to our AR, so let's do that. We'll again use a lookup here, and we will call this lookup email. We will find the email from the account, and we will find the email from the contact. So we're looking it up twice. From the contact, it was found in accounts, and then we're passing it now to AR. Let's build that lookup field now from the collection attempts. Again, I'll say lookup, and we will rename it to say email at the top so that we know what it is. And now we're passing it from contacts to accounts to AR, finally to the collection attempt. And this is how databases work. We're able to pass that information throughout all of our data sets. Now you will note that we have multiple emails here because we've linked to multiple AR, which is fine. And now we're going to get into the actual automation component and the email. So if we pop open this record, this is how we expand this particular collection attempt. We can go up here to add or view the comments, which brings up the communication center on the right side. Now here, we can actually establish some settings to include emails. And now we can send and receive emails without leaving SmartSuite, communicate with people outside of the workspace from any email address. And it's going to use the email address we have on file, and most importantly, make it super simple for us to track all this. So we can answer our emails from our actual email provider, or we can just pop into the database here and look at the different collection attempts and figure out what the history of this is. So here, now that I've enabled emails, I can click over here and send a new email. You'll notice that it's being sent from my inbox. It's going to look like it's come from me, but it's actually also tracking through SmartSuite. And the best part is I can choose a recipient from the data that we've connected to here in this record. So this is the client's email that I can just select from the dropdown, and I can put together a subject. Note that I can also apply a template. I can manage multiple templates if I have different collection attempts that have to escalate over time. as this particular no-code user needed. This is a perfect example and a perfect time to implement that. So put a bunch of templates in here, and as you track this collection attempt over time, you can see all of that information right here. The best part is, as your email goes out and is replied to, that will also be recorded right here inside of the email center. So right in the communication center, not only your outbound emails, but also the stuff you receive back. This, my friends, is how you can manage your AR. And I kid you not, this solved a $1 million AR problem. I hope you got a ton of value from this video. Of course, I know we went a little fast, so any questions you have, feel free to swing by our website and get some more help. If you enjoyed this and you want to learn more, be sure you subscribe to the channel. And then most importantly, keep on building.